Hello everyone, I'm Sisanda Ntshinga and welcome to On the Couch. So today I'll be chatting to Siviwe Mbinda, who is a social entrepreneur from Langa in Cape Town. Siviwe is the founder of Siviwe Tours as well as the Happy Feet Youth Project. Both of his businesses aim to create employment and opportunities to local residents from his community. Siviwe, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
I am okay. It's good to see you. I'm really excited to chat to you today because I've been seeing all the amazing work that you've been doing on social media. And I think you're one of the people that has managed to take this time and create positivity out of it. But before we get into all of the work that you've been doing, I want you to kind of just take us back to when you first started your social entrepreneurship journey and tell us a bit about who Siviwe is. Who's Siviwe and how did you get into social entrepreneurship?
Yes, it's Siviwe was born in 1983, and when I grew up very happy that I was sharing a birthday with Mandela. So I think the inspiration started from there. I remember when my family didn't have a birthday for me, but when I was kind of like understanding what's birthday, what was happening in South Africa, when I was about 10, 11, I always reminded about my birthday when I see Mandela's birthday on TV or I hear on radio. So immediately I draw a lot of strength from that, in terms of I would love to be like him, everything that I do with my life, because I saw from my parents, from my neighborhood, how happy they were when this guy came out, and how he makes everyone really excited and look forward into really big things. So that played a really big role with me growing up, that I really wanted to do that with my life. And also with my parents, they were really involved in the village. I was born in Namtata, which is a small town on the east of South Africa. That happens, Mandela is from the same town. So all these things started like connecting. So my parents were really involved in the village. If someone passes away, if there's a cattle or a sheep lost, people will come to them. So all those things, I think that they kind of built me up to become who I am, in social entrepreneurship.
Okay, so you're the proper definition of like a Madiba baby.
Oh yes.
Okay, so I know you from Happy Feet, right? I know you from your days at Happy Feet, and what I don't know though is how Happy Feet came about. I was very curious to know, Bana, did Happy Feet come out of maybe your love for dance, your love for culture? Because I know that you guys focused a lot on gumboot dancing and a lot of traditional dancing. So how did Happy Feet start? How did it come about?
Oh yes, Happy Feet came from a passion of working with children. I've got two big sisters, and my sisters didn't waste time. They came a lot of nephews and nieces when I was young, and I've got about 8 of them. So I kind of grew around a lot of children where I have to take care of them, where they have to, I had to act in a certain way for them to follow me, So I think that environment, I actually enjoyed it growing up, with a lot of kids around me. That when I was asking myself what I'm going to do with my life, I first transported children, preschool, from home to preschool to home. And then from there, I ran the fruit and veg store in Langa. And then the children were also coming to my fruit and veg store, And then from there, I was like getting into tourism. And I asked myself, tourism now is going to make me lose what keeps me going, what makes me happy. And I had to come up with an idea how I'm going to connect tourism with the children. Mm-hmm. And then that's when the kids told me, we actually do gumboot dance here, And I was like, what? And I'm like, gumboot dance is unique to South Africa. And I think a lot of tourists will love to learn about the story of South Africa. in the minds how our adults entertain themselves. And also now you guys, if you do this circumstance, we also teach them, we get happy. So really, I never entered in that space like I'm gonna solve problems of pregnancy. I want to solve problems of kids going to prison. That was not the initial thing. That kind of built it up for me wanting to be in that space with children. So that's how Happy Feet started actually.
So it's all about the love for children. Okay, I get it now. Because I was like, hey, man, how did Zva get into happy? Okay, so now I get it. So it was, you had already formed this relationship with the children, and
Yes.
they were also drawn to you because clearly if they were coming to your stand every day, if that's what they're going to do, that's what they're going to do. So blending
Yes.
that to the business that you were running at the time also kind of makes sense. And then, so
Yes.
how did tourism happen? How did you get into that space?
Tourism actually happened when I was on the fruit and veg stand in Langa, where those who knows Langa, it's a corner where there's a taxis to Venkate. I used to have a stand there in 2005 and 6. And at 11 o'clock, the township keeps quiet. The kids are at school, people goes to work, and the buzzing, the township just becoming very calm and start moving slow, everything. And I'm sitting there in the stand, and I saw one thing which was not moving slow, tourism. And I saw these buses, I saw these guys with the mic driving past my stand, and I was like, wow, these guys, they look like me, you know? And I could see that they're from the township. Immediately, they gave me a message without even talking to me, that you also, Siviwe, sitting in that stand, you can also be in this bus. So that's how I identified tourism. And the amazing thing was, these guys were talking and getting paid. And me, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I finish at 8 o'clock at night, and I go home with 60 Rand profits. And these guys work for 2 hours. That's when I started doing my research. They are talking about their lives, what is township to them, you know, what is Langa to them, what is Cape Town, what is South Africa to them. And I had a lot of things to share. And I felt like that's where I belong, you know, because I always get into trouble where I'm supposed to work and I'll be talking, you know. So I always thought talking was a weak point for me, you know, because it was pumped in my brain over and over again. So I saw a space whereby something that comes natural to me, I enjoy to do. I can make a living out of it. So that's how I joined tourism, and then I just went to school for it, and the rest was history.
It's so amazing to me how a lot of people who are like me and you who love to talk, right? Have always thought that talking is a bad thing because at school, when you talk too much, you're told, no, you're going to get a demerit or you're going to go to the principal's office, and you were never really taught that talking can be a skill and talking can be something that, you know, you make money from, right? So I appreciate you acknowledging that it was your talking and your talkativeness that allowed you to kind of pursue tourism.
Yeah. And I was convinced it was a negative thing. I really wanted to tone it down, you know, because of what, from my parents to my friends to my teachers, you know, I really wanted to fix it. And when I realized I don't have to fix it, I have to run with it. That was the best thing ever happened to my life, to be honest.
I get it. I totally understand. Our journeys are very similar, very similar. So you were talking about how, you know, these guys were just talking about their lives and their stories, and you realized that this could be something that you could do, right? Why do you think township tourism is important, and why do you think it's important that people from the communities are the ones that are telling the stories and the ones that are running the narrative of the places that they come from? Why do you think that's important in tourism?
Yes, firstly, when people come into a space, you know, to learn about it, they, more especially if it's not a scenery, in terms of, like I say, we drive around Champions Peak with beautiful views and stuff. Township tourism is very, very different. It's not a scenery. Township tourism is very personal, you know. So each person who tells a story needs to be to have a connection with what they're telling. You know, you don't really have to be from that place. If you have a friend that you visit every weekend, say, hey, when I come here in this area on a weekend, this is what we do. We go to that park and we go to do that. And you know what happened to me when I came here for the first time? It's like this. So people who come to the township are looking for what is township to you personally, not what is township according to the statistics. You know, there's a way of presenting a community and the people and yourself combined in one. That one does not really need statistics. You cannot say 20% they drop out from school, 15% they get pregnant, 9% they go to prison underage, 25% they have domestic violence. These are the things that when you present a township, you present them like that. That's when you are not connected with the problem, you are not connected with the community. You know, if you want to even say something negative or positive, what is your experience personally to that? You know what I mean? If there's something you love about the township, what is it that you're connected with? You know what I mean? If I talk about Cookers Table, I'm not going to say Cookers Table 2001 and this. I'll say this place, my first time to put my foot in this place, I saw a sign that says Cape Town Tourism. This is where I researched how to become a tourist guide. You know, I present a space through my life. A hostel, what is a hostel to me? When I came in 2001 in Langa to live in Squatin, it was my first time to be shocked that, wow, you can have a lot of people in one room. It was only men. And I saw the bricks. I thought it was nice inside. And when I went inside, it was totally another story. So this shocked me. This is how you present a township. It has to connect with your life. You know, when I point that corner, this is where I used to run the fruit and veg store, and my competitor was there. And this is A block like to buy potatoes, but the P block, for some reason, they like to buy oranges. You know what I mean? This is when the tourist connects with you personally. You know, this is how you build relationships with people from all over the world. And that's what within my company, within the space, even if it's someone who's not in my company, and I say the key here, it must come from your heart, you know, and you must have a connection. And as a result, I have connected with people from all over the world, purely based on what I've just explained.
I love it. You speak so passionately. Like the moment you started talking about what you do, right? And the space that you work in, you lit up instantly. You instantly just became somebody else. What do you love most about the work that you do and the community that you work in? What's that one thing that when you think about it, you're like, yeah, Maraya, that's it. That's the reason.
Yeah, it's I couldn't ask for more. You know, like the community, the space I worked in the community. Firstly, when I talk Langa Township, I'm talking about a township that has never been scared of different things, that have never been scared of new things. You know, you go way back and look at Langa, cricket players, you know, who played cricket, you know, like soccer teams that played with big teams around around South Africa. You know, like we take these big players back in the day. You talk like now, if you look at the sports, you can go to a field. There's a professional player from Langa who played in that field. You go to a cricket field, there's a professional player who played for South Africa coming from a field in Langa. In rugby, in soccer, Mgomenis, you name them, you know. And then I was really fascinated by Langa Township, you know, because I was not born in Langa. But I was like, this community, different things which are not traditional townships, you know, stereotyping townships. This township can take like really unique stuff. Look at tourism. You know, I stayed in Kukuletu before I went to live in Langa. I lived in Kukuletu for a couple of years there. And but when I came to Langa, I saw something I've never seen in Kukuletu. I've never seen in any other township. I'm like, people from all over the world, they walk here, they cycle here, they drive here, they eat here, they interact here. And I'm like, what is this? You know? So when I say it's not just the community physically, I'm actually explaining the people of Langa, you know. And I was like, this is a perfect fit for me. I love different things. I was not intimidated by things I don't know. So I kind of fitted in like really nicely. And also Langa, it's not like a walk in the park. People of Langa, they test you, you know, that if you know your story, are you really resilient? So I actually like that challenge as well. Langa keeps you on toes at all times. You know, when you start, for example, feeling down and slowing down, you look around and like, damn, this guy is moving. There's always inspiration around you to keep on taking your socks up. And I wanted to do the same thing for Langa as well. That when people looks at me, they're like, damn, Siviwe is moving. I must also take up my socks, you know. So I can tell you a lot of stories about Langa. Preaches for music, you know. Jordan's ways of cooking. Sihle is a coder. You know, Ituba Innovation Hub, online classes. Like, these are like international things, you know what I mean? But happening in a community that is still in a bracket of what's this word? Disadvantaged community, you know, it's still in a bracket like that. But we have stuff like this we're talking about. So yeah, it's they say home is where your heart is, and my heart is in Langa, and that's my home.
Amen. I love it when you speak like this about where I'm from because I'm from Langa. So
Yeah.
whenever people speak about Langa like this, I'm like, yes, tell them, you know? Because when I say it, it's like I'm being biased because of course you're going to say all the good things because that's where you're from. So when somebody else comes in and says, "Ay, kunje Langa," and this is what people from Langa do and this is how they are, it's wonderful. I'm sitting here and I'm beaming with pride because I'm just like, oh, those are my people, you know? That's my home.
You should be proud. It's a, it's, it's a fantastic neighborhood. It's a very, very good community.
It really is. So I know that, like, I think for like a lot of businesses have obviously been struggling during the pandemic, right? But I think tourism has kind of taken the biggest knock because tourism involves people. It involves you being out there. It involves interaction. What have been some of the struggles that you've been facing around this time, and how have you navigated through those challenges?
Yeah, firstly, tourism literally ended like a month before lockdown. By the time lockdown came, you know, already, because it started like in Europe, you know, that's where, and US, international, that's where we get about 90% of our business. So when that happened, those were like frightening times, you know, that's been like my fear all my life. From like, then would if tourism can go away, because everything I do is connected with tourism, because I have Happy Feet benefits from tourism. I have Ituba Innovation Hub also connected with tourism, and I feel like if tourism can die, everything I've built all these years will come crashing down. So my biggest fear actually happened, but I have really great people around me. I must say I've got like Diane, Ian Carvelt, you know, Padleys, you name them. I've got my girlfriend, people who said to me, Siviwe, these tough times, you were built for them. This is when people like must shine. You know what I mean? You cannot go and hide and cry like, oh, everything went down, what I'm going to do. This is when people like you, who comes up with solutions when things are very tough, when it's dark, people like you who brings in the light. And then I was asked, who else do you think Siviwe should go and do something in Langa? Who do you nominate? Who can do it better than you? Then that's when I woke up. I'm like, no, no one can do this better than me. I think I have a very rich network of people. I know how to connect different worlds, you know. And I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my talents here. It's time to go out there and start building up things. But on tourism side, tourism dead. Business account locked down. Accountant, guides, it's really like one of the most painful experiences, you know, because I had a team of almost 10 people who relied on this company to say, guys, we need to wait for at least a year to come back. So,
And
but yeah.
That's
what happened.
really that's really tough because I think I know a lot of you guys in the tourism space, especially Langa, because I've got history within tourism. So when this happened, I had sleepless nights thinking about what is going to happen because it also brings so much. It wasn't. I know that tourism for you is not just about you; it's also about empowering people in the community, and you've created, as you said, a lot of employment opportunities. But not just that, but the other businesses that are affected by the work that you do as well, right? But I see that there was a pivot. There wasn't a. I don't feel like, yes, you might have stopped the tourism, but Usviwe didn't stop. Can you tell me a little bit about the work that I've seen you do? Because I saw that there was a soup kitchen. I was seeing Jordan's way of cooking also getting involved. I saw Bridges for Music also getting involved. So can you tell me about what you decided to do when everything else stopped?
Yeah, like I said, I was really helped by people who are around me, who knows me. I've worked with them for years. That I need to get out there and apply the knowledge I've acquired over these years. And the first thing was food. People were hungry. Started from my guides who said, Siviwe, hey, I'm struggling to put food on the table. I started to see on the streets the begging was coming up, and then I heard that there were people who were actually like the suburbs of Cape Town. Claremont adopted Langa, Newlands adopted Philippi, Sea Point adopted Kukuletu, and they call all of these things Kukuletu Ken, Philippi Ken, Langa Ken. So I started there and studied how do they work with the community in terms of bringing in the food and all of that. And then that's how, that's when I started. So I met a lady called Jenny. She actually called me, #101. She said, I've got soup, I've got bread, and we're already doing soup kitchen twice a week as Happy Fit. And then the experience I had with my team at Happy Fit when we were feeding, we also helped Jenny helping us how to create micro kitchens around the township, And then I went to Jordan's ways of cooking. This guy got a party, got a trailer, and he said, guys, how can we bring in our resources, together, and then we address the issue of food security. I was not only talking Happy Feet, we were talking the whole of Langa, and we had to sit down and identify areas that really needs the soup and the bread and the fruit we're bringing to them. And what happened was I was really amazed about how the community of Langa came and joined. We're talking about Tumelo who's selling fruit and veg. He said, guys, before my cabbage goes off, take them. Before my spinach starts becoming like that, I cannot really sell it, you take it. I've got a guy who needed to fix a vehicle. The mechanic said, okay, guys, we'll fix your mechanic for your car for free because you're doing this, because this car is doing this. We're buying the gas from this lady who sells gas because we're making this soup warm. And she said, why are you making this? And we told her, she said, you know what, once a week I have a free gas for you. Jordan opened his restaurant and said, here's a restaurant sitting there doing nothing. What about we? Because it was still locked down at that time. We use this restaurant. And then you find mothers within Langa who said, I'm the community street committee leader. When you come in my street, if you've chosen my street, I will make sure everyone does social distancing. I want to work with you when you come to my street. So it was a really beautiful collective from businesses to individuals, and we managed to feed 600 people every day, 7 days a week for almost 1 month, And today we've managed to develop it into 4 satellite kitchens, whereby one kitchen would deliver, and another would deliver, and then they do the feeding themselves. So that was really, really beautiful process, and was very nice to be part of something that was done in a collaborative way, where everyone, even the social media, when someone was posting there, someone was taking pictures. So that changed like everything. The whole energy to be around that positive energy changed everything.
What would you say it's taught you about collaboration? Because I'm hearing like everybody got their hands dirty and everybody got involved, and I know that like Elokshini, most times it's not very easy to collaborate. It's not an easy thing to get people together and have a common goal and say we're all going to do this together, especially when you're coming from, you're all coming from different backgrounds. How important was collaboration, and what has collaboration taught you during lockdown? What have you learned from collaboration during this time?
We always talk about collaboration. I always talk about collaboration. Something I all the time. I tried it many times. Sometimes it has worked, but it's very challenging, because you bring in people with different ways of executing plans. Now these ones, they just together like this. They start like this, and but this time under lockdown, this is the most powerful collaboration I've been in my life. I think whenever the big challenge, that requires human beings to come together, you achieve really big things. Some people, they say you must not put a good crisis to waste, and that phrase actually made sense when that collaboration was working. We got to learn each other, and whenever there was something that didn't want to work together, we quickly kept our eyes on the prize. Like, why are we here? Every time we went there, the egos were off the window, like the stubbornness of saying, this is how I do things, I know it works, yours, I don't. Other ones said, no, this is how things are done. So the COVID, as much as it's a huge challenge, but it has really taught us, like with the people that we worked with together, that our egos are not needed. They are the ones who delays us, and also listening and compromising. There was a lot of compromise happened through this collaboration that I've mentioned. So yeah, it was really amazing when it started becoming beautiful, because it's hard when it starts. It becomes messy. When it's messy, it's like, oh no, we think it should be done like this. No, let's not go to that street. Let's go mess. And then when it's framed and the system is achieved, then everything we know tomorrow, we're doing like this. When a challenge comes, we know exactly how to solve it. When we have a meeting whereby we talk every day afterwards, how was the day, what was the challenge, and then it becomes very beautiful. So we got to the beautiful part of it very quickly than I've ever experienced in my life. The hard and the messy part of collaboration was not that much. It was just 25% of the time. And 75% was beautiful, which is the most satisfying feeling ever when that happens.
I think I appreciate I appreciate social entrepreneurs because of that. I think my love for social entrepreneurs is the will that they have to just keep going. Like when things are messy, because most people, when things get messy, that's when you see people just say, you know what, actually I tried and I'm not about this life. But one thing I have learned from people that have businesses that are there to uplift other people, they are constantly on the go no matter what comes on their way. So I appreciate that. And you were saying that you were all learning different things about each other, right? What I want to know is, what have you learned about yourself that you didn't know prior to lockdown? What's the one thing that you didn't know, but like say, Kanti, I'm this person that this entire experience has kind of shown you about Usville?
Actually, what I've learned that I need to step back sometimes. I've actually seen my leadership skill, My leadership skill, I lead from the front. I get things moving. I'm like, this is what is to be done. You know what we're going to do like this. But in that collaboration, I got to a position whereby I'm loud, I talk all the time, like, wow, wow, wow. I always come up with solutions. I'm not scared to just go and fail and do it. But here in this collaboration, I learned to step back, and allow myself to be led, and also allow myself to lead from the back. Those two skills I did not have, I promise you. And the whole process I went through under COVID really helped me. And those are very powerful for any leader to be able to do. Because when we run in our own spaces, we tend to keep things going. We are used to this train, that has a lot of carriages, and I'm pulling everyone to move. You know what I mean? And you get congratulated about that. Wow, you're doing amazing. You started this, you did this, you did this, and it gets into your head. You know what I mean? That's how you should always do it. But I've learned a very, very powerful skill collaborating with all the names I've mentioned.
You are
Step back.
That's incredible, because I know you to be Siviwe with the solutions. I know you to be the one. You're right, you always lead from the front. You're always like, it's fine, I will do it. I'm the one that's in charge anyway, I will go ahead and I'll do it. And to hear you speak like this, and to say, I've now learned to kind of just take a step back, and it's okay. That for me is, if that's all you take out of lockdown, that's enough. That's a lot. And you are helping everybody, right? As much as you're saying that you're not leading from the front, you're still that person who is trying to help everybody around you, or everybody who doesn't have what you have. But who are you looking for? Who are you looking at for support? Where do you go and say, whew, today was very overwhelming and I'm not okay? So where do you go when you need support right now during COVID?
There's a lady called Dr. Diane Flannery in Los Angeles. She's the one that started Ituba Innovation Hub. By the way, we are running online classes with 40 students in our program. We managed to turn living rooms in the townships of Langa and became classrooms through the IXL online learning. And I make these video calls with her once a week, and some little bit of communication in between. This is where I always go for tough decisions. This is where I bounce off. This is where I become very vulnerable. And I said, now I love what I'm doing, but I feel like now I'm putting my life in danger with COVID. I'm exposing myself. What should I do, Diane? I've got a daughter at home. If I come back, she's got asthma. If I come back home with COVID, my daughter might die, and I still have to do this. People there, they need the skills I have. So she's the one I always bring these tough things that sometimes I hit a wall. So she helps me a lot, and obviously my girlfriend to be with me, to wake up with me, drive with me into Langa, going into different places 7 days a week with me. That means a lot. I have someone that is there, that experiences, works with me. We come home, we talk about it. We come home, we make some hot ginger and lemon, we wash our hands, and we try, how can we be safe more? How can we teach more? So, and then it's a really collective, you know what I mean? Talking about Ian Calvert, is a guy I bounce off things to and say, what do you think? Do you think if I take this step, will it work? Not. So I have really kind of have a network of people around me that I know if I go to Sisanda, this is what I'm going to ask Sisanda. I know if I go to Bella, this is what I'm going to ask Bella. Because so what I've learned was, you must not have one person where you offload everything. Read your network. Well, what is it that one person likes to talk about? You know what I mean? What is it other person likes to talk about? And look at where you're struggling, where it's hard, and talk about it. Alfie, you know, is like a mentor from the academy. You know, like this guy, uh, whenever I have some business decisions, more especially when I'm working with people, I'm like, Alf, hey, this person I'm working with, I like the project, but I don't like the way they do things, you know. And I feel like, I know what's you. Think about it like it's a relationship, you know. Yeah. So that guy, I know what when I need when I need something, what should I go to Alfie for? What should I go to Ian for? What should I go to Diane for? So that helps a lot.
I hear you. A lot of people always think, I like that you touched on that, because a lot of people always think that as a person you have like one mentor. There's like one person that you go to about your business, about your life, about everything, and that's the person that, you know, kind of automatically or magically has all these answers. So I appreciate that you're saying that you have a lot of different people within your network that you kind of you reach out to for different reasons, right? Ituba, wait, hang on. I want to backtrack now a little bit, because you and I, we talk, whenever we meet, we always talk about education and the education system in our country. And I know that you're one of those people who are very passionate about changing the inequalities within the South African education system. And I think what COVID has done is that it has managed to highlight just how big those inequalities are. So tell me a little bit about Ituba. What's that about, and how has it also shown you the importance of it?
Oh yes, it's you know, I've been running Ituba since 2016. You know, when I learned about STEM subjects, when I learned about 21st century skills, you know, when I learned that where the world is going, most of our students in the townships are not prepared for that. You know, so I was like, oh my God, what can I do? You know, and when I saw the failures with Happy Feet, when these guys turn 17, they don't reach matric and stuff like that. I was like, I need to do something on education part, because education, that's the one that really helps you to know what you want, how you want it. Even me personally, if if I didn't go to school for tourism, if I never went to learn entrepreneurship at school, if I never invested in myself in Spanish, I wouldn't be thinking the way I think, you know. So I felt like we need to invest in the brains. And now, Ituba Innovation Hub, we've been running the mathematics, coding, after school program for 2 hours at Bridges for Music. We have a collaboration with Bridges. We use their computer lab there. We use also their space uh, as a creative space. But when the COVID came, that's when everything changed. We're like, now we have two choices. Do we shut down our program and wait for the schools to open? But we are talking about 21st century skills. We are talking about technology solving today's problems. We are talking about coding, you know, and we felt like this is the time for Ituba to shine. And then again with Dr. Diane Flanner in Los Angeles, she works with a lot of schools. So a lot of schools there were converting to IXL. So she always gives me all this advice. She says, Siviwe, you have to fix it to fit the context in Langa, you know. And that's what we have done very well, me and her, you know, as a doctor and also as a facilitator, as a lecturer, as someone who starts schools and someone who changes schools. With all that knowledge, whenever I'm there, I learn a lot from her. So what we did, got an IXL, which is the learning platform. I felt also influenced by the South African curriculum. They use their phones at home, parents' phones, to go into the system. And it's very easy to use, very friendly to use, and you choose which grade you want to start up with. So Ituba students, they do mathematics and English on that one. Us, we get all the data, how many times they work per week, which they struggle with. Now we've even moved it whereby we make WhatsApp videos, you know, every day from Monday to Friday. the mathematics teacher we have at Ituba, me and the student talks about what it was hard for them. The beautiful thing about this, the parent and the child sit together and they talk about education, they watch their children, they contribute to their children. The cell phones are the parents' cell phones. When they come back from work, they must give the child cell phone. We provide data. So we actually created a community where we have a WhatsApp group where all these parents and children are in that Ituba community of online classes of mathematics and maths. So it's really an amazing project that where I work from home with it. I don't have to go to their homes or anything. Work from home and encourage them, help them with the struggle. And all these students that works with us, when the schools opens, they're gonna hit the ground running. Their brains were constantly challenged. Their brains had to do difficult stuff at all times. And we gave them a lot of support, so it's COVID taught us that we can actually teach remotely.
Uyankaza because of how you pivot. Uyankaza because of how you innovate. Uyankaza because of how you take, whenever it's like, I think I say this all the time with social entrepreneurs. When everybody else is like, yo, what are we going to do now? Or like, what is going to happen? Social entrepreneurs are the people that turn around and say, okay, so this is a problem, and this problem is an opportunity to change a couple of things. And I appreciate that about you a lot. What I want to know from you, you've told me about like all these amazing experiences that you've had, right, on your journey as an entrepreneur with all your different businesses. But I want to know about the most fulfilling thing during your journey as an entrepreneur. What has been that moment that you will never forget in your entrepreneurship journey when you were like, yabona ngoku? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like was to basically to see something that was in my mind and see it in action. And this started with Happy Feet. When I prepared with them, I talked to them, and I said, let's go dance for tourists in Krugersdorp. So we went. And the tourists were very happy. The people who worked in Krugersdorp were happy. The children were happy. I was happy. We walked back to Squatin. That night, I couldn't sleep because I have tasted something amazing, something very addictive. That actually, Siviwe, if something is not there, you can actually make it there, and it can actually be big, And since then, all I've been doing with my life has been chasing that satisfaction, whereby I create something that makes people happy, which was not there. That makes people grow, that makes me grow. It's a beautiful win-win situation, And since then, I promised my life I will always be part of something that gives that satisfaction to me. It was never the money. It was never the recognition of me recognized as Siviwe that I'm doing this. But for the first time, I felt the definition of happiness, because at that time my parents already passed away, and this, I thought life was over. I'm like, I'm an orphan, and all those things were happening like in my mind. But that feeling gave me life. And sitting here talking with you after all these years, I can tell you a lot of other things that I've been doing with my life. We talked about them. They are giving the same feeling.
Amen. Yes. I want to know what are you most excited about post lockdown? Like, what's that thing that you really want to do after lockdown that you're just like, I can't wait until I can get to do this again once lockdown is over?
The human to human interaction. You know, like I miss it so much. You know, I think it's very hard. It's actually very hard on me that I'm scared to shake anyone's hand. I freak out when someone is just speaking. They don't even have to sneeze. You know, I envision things coming to me, making me sick. I am really struggling with fearing people, you know. And when the lockdown and all of this is down, I'm really looking forward not to fear people.
I'm gonna end it on that note. I'm gonna end it on that note because I understand what you mean about fearing people, and as somebody who loves being around people, all of a sudden you're now thinking about them in a different way. I'm excited to see what happens and how we interact once the pandemic is over. I hope that there are things that we can take from what we have learned during this time into whatever is still yet to come. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to share your story and to inspire, because I think I'm left here just thinking about just the amazing, not just the amazing work that you've done during lockdown or the work that you've done prior. I'm excited about the work that you're still going to do, because as an innovator, I know you always have the next thing on your mind. So I appreciate you, and thank you so much for taking the time to have this chat with me today. Jabulele.
Thank you to you, having all the questions that I've never asked myself. You know, this is how we grow. You know what I mean? It's and you really ask things that makes me want to speak. You know, and the energy you give when you talk, you know, it's really amazing. You touch the right buttons. You know, I can tell you anything you want to hear. Very easy, because of how you flow, like with people, like the sense of empathizing with someone you speak with. It's a really powerful skill I've always admired from you. You know, so just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
For today.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. I am excited about the things that me and you constantly talk about doing that we haven't done. But I know they're coming.
I know.
We will do them
I think
sometime.
we need to do the couch first. We need to
We
do
had
the
to do
couch
this first because I cannot
yes,
believe
I think so.
it's been so many years and we've never done this. It makes absolutely no sense to me that I've never had a couch session with you. But now that the couch has been done, I think it's time for us to do those things that we always talk about when we see each other.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're going to flow.
Enkosi, Dabulela, thank you so much.
Thanks to you. Thank you for your patience. I've learned a lot about Zoom as well today. I'm going to carry on learning, by the way.
Enkosi,
Okay, cool.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.